guys, welcome back to Tune Guru. If you're new here, we are all about learning to play the guitar, and my goal is to make you the best musician that you can be. Please hit the bell notification to get latest updates and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out any of our videos in our upcoming series. So today we're going to talk a little about theory and break down all the notes and unlock your fretboard in terms of notes for you. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to start with a very simple question for all of you. Can any one of you try and tell me how many notes are there in music? If you've got the answer, amazing. You're going to make it up very soon. But if not, here's the answer for you. So in music, we have 12 notes. And I want you to grab your pen and paper and start making a note of all the notes that we have. So starting off, our very first note is going to be A. After that, we have A sharp. The symbol for sharp is going to be the hashtag symbol. So anytime you hear me say sharp, you're going to write the hashtag symbol next to you or just look at what's on your screen. After A sharp, we have B followed by C. Then we have C sharp, then we have D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, and G sharp. So I want you to quickly count the number of notes that you have. Make sure you have 12. Now if you notice, you will see two of the alphabets do not have sharps. That is saved for a later video, so make sure you guys subscribe. Now, before we move on, I want you to quickly count the number of frets on your guitar. Well, on my guitar I have 21 frets, but most guitars will have 20 frets. Okay? Now, we're going to have a quick math test for all of you. Multiply 6 into 20 right now. If you've got 120, that is right because there are 120 places to play the same 12 notes on your guitar alone. Which means notes are going to be repeating all over the fretboard. And how these notes get repeated is what we're going to understand. So make sure to have a cup of coffee because we're going to go deep into theory right now. So notes will appear in two forms on your fretboard. Number one is going to be octave. The second form is going to be repeated notes. There are going to be small definitions flashing on your screen right now. So make a note of that. Now I'm going to repeat it. You guys can read it along with me. An octave is when one note is played in two different places while resonating at a frequency which may sound high and low apart. For repeated note, it is when the same note is played at two different parts of the neck while resonating at the same frequency. Now, even though this sounds a little complicated, it is not. It is quite simple, and I'm going to give you some demonstrations for that right now. Before we start with the demonstration, I want to ask you guys a quick question. Have you ever seen someone practice vocals? It can either be sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa or do re mi fa sol la ti do. Also, one more question is going to be that have you ever heard the term 7 notes of music? If you have you ever wondered why they call it 7 notes when I'm here telling you there are 12 notes? Well, let's go about it. We have sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, and sa. Let's go with do, re, mi, fa. We have do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. So both of these give us 8, but we commonly call them as 7 notes of music. The answer is because the note sa and the note do is repeated for the second time. Now what we commonly know as these ways of singing, which is either sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa or do re mi fa sol la ti do, is called the major scale, and the whole idea why we call it 7 notes is because the note sa is repeating twice. We start with the sa and we end with the sa. And we start with the do and we end with the do. Now what is happening over there is we are starting with a lower octave and we are ending it at the higher octave, which basically means you have the same note playing at two different places while resonating at a frequency which is high and low apart. Let's get into the demonstrations right now. Now this demonstration is going to be in a form of a ear test for all of you, so let's get into it. Okay, before we start, you have two answers, and at every question you're going to hear two notes. The only two options that you have for your answers is either it sounds the same or it sounds high and low apart. Let's get to it. This is question number 1. Now when we're talking about it sounds the same or high and low apart, I'm not referring to the volume, guys. So really listen to the note. Try to use your voice to try and match whatever is happening over here. This is question 1 again. Question 2. Here's question 3. You have question number 4. Question 5. And here's question 6, the last and final question. Now it's time to give you guys all the answers. Well, question number 1, which was this one. What is your answer? Let me know in the comments below. Well, the answer over here is it sounds the same. This is an example of a repeated note happening over here. When we have two notes played at two different places, but they are resonating at the same frequency. Let's listen to this again and try to do something with our voice to understand what is happening. I'm going to hum the note along while playing it. So notice that my hum doesn't change. Don't judge me for my voice, guys. I'm not a singer yet. Moving on. Question number 2 was this. Now, this also sounds the same. If you've got that in your answers, awesome. Let's move on. Question number 3. That is a clear example of an octave over there, guys. We have one note which is lower, and we have the second note which is higher. This is an octave for you. Question number 4. Again, sounds the same, so this is another repeated note. This is question number 6. This is going to be a little tricky one. Okay, I can't really go this low with my voice, but this is an octave. Listen to it very carefully. And this was your last question, and this is also pretty much the same. I just played the same thing in two different places to show you examples of repeated notes again, between octaves and repeated notes. Now that you know the difference between repeated notes and octaves, how do we start playing all of these 12 notes over the 120 places that we have on our fretboard? The 12 notes that you've written down is commonly known as the chromatic scale. The term chromatic means continuous. So from wherever you start, every next step that you take is going to take you one step forward or one step backward, depending on the direction you are headed in. Let's get started with unlocking the fretboard right now. So we are going to start with our low E string, and we're going to use the last exercises that we've seen in the videos before. So if you haven't checked them out, please go and check them out to stay up to date with this video. Moving on, we are starting with the low E string. If I'm playing the first fret on my E string, what note do you think that's going to be? That is going to be an F, because we moved one fret up from E, and now we have moved one step further from E. So E after E, if you look at your notes again, we have the note F coming in after E. From there, we're going to move continuously. We're going to stay within 4 frets first, then we're going to expand from the fretboard. So we have E, fret 1 F, F sharp on fret 2, G on fret 3, and G sharp on fret 4. What's the name of your next open string, guys? That's an A. So moving on from G sharp, we come back to an A. A sharp on 1, B on 2, C on 3, C sharp on 4. Our next open string is the string D. D sharp on the first fret and E on the second fret. Now we're going to pause over there for a second and look at what just happened. So we started on E, which is the low E, and we came to fret 2 on the D string, which is another E. And we went through all the notes in between to come back to that E. When that happens, when you start at E, you go through all the notes, regardless of whatever note you're starting on, E, A, or whatever. When you start at a particular note, you go through all the notes and you arrive after completing a full circle. That means you have completed one octave. An octave is nothing but a range of sounds available to you on your instrument. Let's move on. We have E on second fret, we're going to move up from there. We have F on fret 3, D string, F sharp on fret 4. What's the next open string? We have G. G sharp on fret 1, A on fret 2, A sharp on fret 3, B on fret 4. What's the next open string? Oh, that's another B over there. Now we're going to pause again and take a look at that. So we have B, which is second string open, and we have B on the fourth fret of the G string as well. Now listen to that. This is another ear test for you. This is an example, another example of your repeated notes. So we had B on the fourth fret of G, and we had open B right after that. When something like that happens, that is a clear example of a repeated note. Moving on, we have C on the first fret of B, C sharp, D, D sharp. What's the next string? The first string again. We have E again over here. So E, F, F sharp, G, and G sharp. So far we've seen every note repeat minimum of 2 times, and the third time for strings 6 and string 1. All the notes that fall on string 6 or string 1 have repeated for the third time. We've seen examples of octaves and repeated notes on our guitar right now. Even though we have all the notes laid out over here in multiple octaves just within 4 frets, why do you think we have so many frets to play along with? I want you to quickly look at the markers on your fretboard, all the dots or all these inlays that we have. And in one place, you're going to notice on your guitar, if you're using an acoustic guitar, you're going to have 2 dots on one particular point. I want you to count up to that particular fret. You would have reached fret 12, which is the place of the double dots. On most guitars, not on all guitars, you're going to have some sort of indication on the 12th fret, which is slightly more different. Now, the 12th fret on every string is going to give you the natural octave for that open note. I'm going to repeat this again. The 12th fret on every string is going to give you the natural octave for that open string, which means if I have E open on my 6th string, if I go all the way up to the 12th fret is where I'm going to finish the octave for that particular note. For the E open, the octave note is on fret 12, which is also available to us on fret 2 of the D string. There you have it, guys. So this is how you're gonna unlock all the notes on the fretboard. From the last lesson, if you guys have practiced up to the 12th fret, I want you to now start calling out the names of the notes as you go. Again, if you have any confusions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'm going to try and get back to you as soon as possible. Even though it sounds a little complicated, it is honestly very, very simple. All you need to do is start on one particular open string and remember the chromatic rule. Every next step is going to take you one note further. Thank you for sticking around till the end. If you've made it till the end, trust me, this is a very important lesson for all of you trying to learn guitar and understand how music theory works. Like I said, the 12 notes is all that we have, and choosing what to do with those 12 notes is the whole art of learning music. So I hope you guys have hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to stay up to date with all the videos that I'm putting up. And like I said again, let me know in the comments below if you have any other doubts, and I will see you in the next one.